What's going on, YouTubers? This is C4destroyer from ReviewDork, and today we will be going over the pilot versus pilot game type in Titanfall 2. This will go over pretty much the tips and tricks on how to become a efficient pilot and get high tier kills anywhere between 15 to 25. That's a good mark for the amount of kills considering there's 16 players on the map. And we'll go over that and more right after the break. Alright, so what I like to go over is the loadout that typically people would start off with. I have this loadout labeled PvP, which is pilots versus pilots. If we go into it, the tactical options that you typically have available are the cloak, the pulse blade, and the grapple. By default, I think the cloak will benefit a lot of players to use off the cup. And my choice of grenades is the arc grenade. It blinds enemies, and it also slows them down so they cannot move like they used to. It actually throws off their game. For the default weapon, I've stuck with the R201 as the primary. And for the perks, I've used a speed loader because it's a fast-paced game. We need a fast reload to not get caught off guard. And given the game type, we need extra ammo to make sure we don't run out of bullets. For the secondary weapon, a lot of the times people have it by default set to the Titan, anti-Titan weapons. What we want to do is change that to a pistol. There will not be any Titans whatsoever in the pilots versus pilots game mode. So what we want to do is change that to a pistol that benefits us. You can use the RE45 auto. The problem is the accuracy is way off. It does shoot full automatic. You just hold on to the trigger and it does its job. But for a good balance between shooting and aiming down the sights along with range, I like to use the Hammond P2016. I think it's good. It is manual fire. You have to pull the trigger as you go, but the accuracy is good, the damage is good, and it does the job. So that's always good if you ever need to switch up. For the kit, the first kit, I like to use the power cell. You want to be as cloaked. You want to be cloaked as much as you can to get the jump on other players. And I use the wall hang. Speaking of jump on players, that actually helps as well when you're in a high area and just hanging and overlooking everything else. For the execution, I like to use the neck breaker. It's a little bit faster than all the other executions, and it keeps you off the map when you do execute someone. You don't show up on the map. So with that being said, we'll jump right into it and we'll go into some pilot versus pilot gameplay. So here we are. We're doing pilot versus pilot. The match has just started. Usually, in particular, in every map when you play pilot versus pilot, there's always somebody that wants to run and gun. This gentleman here did run up straight up the gut and somehow managed to catch me off guard. But one thing you want to do for sure is keep your sights on the peripherals of the map. A lot of people like to travel the outskirts of the map, so you definitely want to run along the outskirts if you can, no matter where you are. As you can see right now, I'm up at high ground, and I get a better view on what's going on. If you look at the upper left-hand side of the map, you'll see a red bubble or orangey bubble. That is where all the players are spawning on the other side of the team. This gives me an idea that as players are dying on the other side of the team, that general area is where they're going to be coming from. So you see a lot of my players, if you look at the upper left hand side of the map, we are focused on this area because as we are killing them, they are respawning in this area, which allows us to get the drop on them and also get more kills. That also goes for us as well, as we are getting killed too, but that is what you want to focus on right off the cup. As people die, look for that circle because you'll definitely see some pilots on the other team spawn up. As far as the tactical, you'll see I use the cloak. It does a good job making me stay hidden as long as I'm not moving too much. A lot of the times players are looking wide open into the open areas. You'll see I'm sticking close to the walls. I'm trying to keep myself hidden. Even on the corner, I'm hugging those walls. Sometimes, yeah, you'll get caught because there's nowhere else to look. But for the most part, you want to hug those walls to keep yourself as small as possible. Use the corners as some sort of cover, if you will, to get a better angle on them. I use the arc grenades as well. It blinds them. It forces them to move back. Once you hit a player with those arc grenades, instinctively they want to move back and get out the way. That actually works into your favor. For the boost, all I have is the amped boost. But if you do have a sentry turret, you can use that as well to help you out. I would definitely lay those in open areas to get some quick kills as well. One of our players did lay out one of those sentry turrets. They're primarily targeted towards pilots only. If you lay them out in open ground and have them face at least towards where you are shooting, that is like having an extra person. You can lay those sentry turrets behind you to cover your backside, but you actually get credits for those kills as they kill other pilots. And here's another example of me hugging this left wall. You hug the left wall. If you're able to cloak, but hugging the left wall keeps you hidden. I mean, a lot of players are looking at the middle, trying to see any movement, but I'm constantly hugging this wall to get a better angle. Now, as you flow through the maps, you definitely, again, want to keep your eyes peeled on the peripherals. And then also, you want to travel as a team. You don't ever want to go solo. As you see now, I am playing by myself, but for the most part, I am keeping tabs on where everybody's at. I'm seeing where everyone's getting killed, but I'm always trying to stick with someone else. That way, if I do get killed, they can see where this pilot is, and if my my other teammate does get killed, I can see where that bullet is flying as well. In the open areas, you want to take a look at where the bullets are flying. This is pilots versus pilots only. So wherever those bullets are coming from, that's either going to be your friend or your foe. There's no way to pretty much guess yourself to be like. Another thing I like to mention is if you look at where I started now, you always want to start off at the higher ground. You never want to work your way up. If you are in a bad position, take the long route. You know what I mean? One thing in particular I like to mention is in this map, you saw I spawned, I had to go up a hill. Immediately, instinctively, I knew I had to get around. You never want to climb up the hill because players have that benefit. If you ever saw the movie Iron Man, they would call that the kill box because you can look down, you have a better point of view at everything else. Climbing doesn't give you a better view whatsoever, it actually gives you a disadvantage. So whenever you see yourself actually fighting other players, in pilot versus pilot, always come from the higher ground and work your way down, never go the other way. Now, as you can see on this map here, on the upper left hand side, you'll see where there's some highlights and markers going in orange. That tells us where the players are firing from and where they're coming from. Right now you see I'm using that as a guide, as a complete guide to find out where the enemy is. That is what you want to do. That is a key thing that you want to constantly take a look at. You want to see, if you look right now, you want to see where those markers are coming from, because in relation to you, that's where the enemy is, and that's where you'll find other pilots. That is key as you play through this map, to constantly look up just to see where potential players can be. You want to use that on and off going throughout the map as you run, as you navigate through hallways and so forth. As you can see on this game type, I went 22 and 10. That's not bad at all. I did fairly well. I did what I could with just what players would start off with, just the cloak, the regular default weapon, and I don't think I did too bad. What I like to do is just sum up really quick, some easy steps to being good at this game type for pilot versus pilot in Titanfall 2. I'd say 1. Make sure you have the cloak ability available to you and stick near walls. I call that the spider strategy. Just stay small, crouch if you need to, hug those walls, try to get a jump on other players. Rule number 2, definitely stick with players and always approach everything from a teammate standpoint. Number 3, always look from high ground, look down, never work your way up. Rule number 4, use that map as your guide. That upper left hand side, that will guide you through. Well, that's it for me. This is C4destroyer from ReviewDork. I hope those 4 tips help you out in the pilot versus pilot game type in Titanfall 2. If you can, like, share, subscribe, let us know, hit us up on the comment section. If there's anything else, just let us know. This is C4destroyer. I'm out.